I don't like this question. Literally. Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah.
Okay. And I look over to the left. I looked over to the left. It's like, okay, y'all get ready. I said, oh.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. What's your name?
My name is Devin Jerome King.
And how old are you?
I am 24.
Okay. And who are you on a soul level?
Oh. I might need a little bit more clarification about that.
Yeah, so like under everything that society thinks is important, who are you?
I am a free spirit. I'm a complicated person. And maybe that's complicated because of like the interaction with society, but my expression kind of knows no bounds, and it's not really limited to one side of a spectrum or the other. As complicated as I can be, I can also be that simple. As joyful as I can also be very, very, very sad.
Yeah.
And you know, there are times when I'm super loud, and then there are times when I notice I'm not like loud enough. And I really just naturally flow between those states, which can be really interesting. It is both a freeing and kind of puzzling experience.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Is there anything that's going on right now or anything that's happened in your life that has made you like who you are today and like this person?
I have gotten a chance to meet a lot of different people, and I've, for some reason, and I want to say it's because of my father. My mother is charismatic, but my father has this amazing charisma, and he can like speak to anyone. And I think I inherited that trait, and because of that, I've always been exposed to such different types of people who have different types, who have different points of view, and I've learned to like adopt and assess my own understanding of the world based on what I learned from them, and it's really allowed me to connect people. I'm also like a bit empathic, so I can feel people's energies and sometimes feel emotions that don't belong to me. And I recently said to like one of my coworkers, I'm often a bridge between two very different types of people, or about two very different subjects. I'm just always that sort of centerpiece through which everything travels.
I love that. Thank you. It was very well said. Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 categories, and I want you to tell me which one means the most and which one means the least, and you can mix and match if you want to.
Okay.
So the first is love, sex, and relationships. The next is society, culture, politics. And the next is spirituality and or religion, because those two don't necessarily go together. So what kind of takes the front seat in your life?
I think spirituality, and I think the reason is because when I try to focus on those other two, which can cause me great distress, spirituality is the thing that can ground me. Spirituality is also the thing that I ran to once I don't want to say I abandoned religion, because that's not entirely true. I'm sure there's still practices. I pray regularly, but that's not necessarily characteristic of one religion.
Yeah.
I just grew up in a religious household, and faith is a really large part of who I am and how I cope, and also how I process some things.
Yeah.
So I think spirituality is the number one because it informs how I do the other two. Okay.
So tell me a little bit about your spiritual practice, or like what do you believe in? What does that look like?
So one of the things, I'm a person who likes to meditate, specifically in the morning, especially when I have to go to work, because I already know with like the commute and with interacting with so many different energies, I know that I am going to experience a number of different emotions or energy levels throughout the day. So I try to start off being really open to that, and like going into the world with compassion. So that's the thing that's most important to me, is compassion. I like being able to create peace both within myself and amongst others, and I feel like if I approach things with compassion, then that gives me an opportunity to let go of like my biases, or not really move and think in the ego, which often in my life causes issues.
Yeah.
So my spirituality is really like checking the self. It's holding on to a belief that I'm being guided in some sort of way so I don't feel completely lost, and then don't have to look to some external force to tell me what to do. Because what I have found in my own experience is that you start asking so many different external sources, and they give you so many different answers, and then the next thing you know, you're being pulled in different directions. You've got a split mind, and you can't progress.
Right.
And trusting your intuition is so important. And I found that the best way that I can do that is to allow it to inform how I feel I'm being guided through spirituality. So even if someone told me those things you think are, signs or whatever are not, at the underlying, level of that is my intuition. So it doesn't matter.
Okay, right, exactly. Okay. So after spirituality, then where does everything else fall? Like, what comes next for you?
I think this is a little more complicated because I have my head really, really deeply involved in culture, and like politics and social justice and things like that. But so much of my attention is on love. Or so much of where my emotions lie is in love. Okay. But I'm not in a relationship. Not currently romantic with anyone, and haven't really been, not adequately. And I've recently been going through some things with my platonic relationships, or with my loved ones, and not that they have done anything, but I think that my relationship to love has changed so much over the last couple of years. And I've really had to learn how to assess whether I'm receiving unconditional love. I've always given it because I've always wanted it, but I think since I was a child, I didn't really feel like I was receiving unconditional love. And I think the reason I didn't was because I always felt like I was performing for it. I was being something to receive love. And I would say that experience comes from being a little gay black boy. As early as I can remember, just being an effeminate child really put a target on, I would say, my forehead. And I grew up in a small town, so a lot of us were related.
Where did you grow up?
Oh, the Eastern Shore of Maryland. Okay. Yeah, a little town called Graysonville, and tight-knit family. Literally, my great-grandmother's sister lived in the house next to us. Okay. So it was our family house, their family house, but we were one big family. Yeah. And so the daycare, I was with family members, and I think that was around the first time that I really experienced bullying. Was really in my own family. And once you get it the first time at a tender age of 4 or 5 or 6, it really repeats. You find it very often. So there was often this narrative, this thing that would happen where I would come home and talk to my parents, and I'd say, hey, having this trouble at school or at daycare or whatever, everyone's teasing me and they're calling me gay or faggot or whatever. And so the question was well, are you gay? And I think the way that I was taking it was because sometimes they would say it's okay if you are, but I never believed them. Right. I never believed them. Right. I don't think that my 6, 7, or 8-year-old brain was just they're liars. I think I had gotten really good at reading people's behaviors. Yeah, you were what they say. An empath all the way back. You know what I mean? You felt it. So I was no, you guys are not gonna like it if I tell you that this is something that I'm dealing with. And I also just knew I wasn't supposed to be. So I just kept saying no. And I think I got to the age around 11, 12, or 13 when I was starting to deal with those feelings a lot more, and I had absolutely no one to talk to about it. And so I started isolating myself. And then when I was around my family and friends, it was really a version of me that wasn't completely honest. And I was receiving love, but the more and more time I spent doing that, the more I felt this person that I truly am is not capable of love. Gotta sit in that. And it's funny because this is a trauma I've been aware of for a while. And the craziest thing about trauma, I think, is that you think once you go over it like one time and you deal with it and then you feel better, you're like, okay, this is over with. I will not be affected by this anymore. And then something happens and you're triggered and the feelings come back.
Yeah.
And I know that the work is not letting them affect how you behave, but that doesn't mean that the feelings change.
Exactly. Oof.
I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, it's fine. It's okay.
So once I came out in college, I went to counseling so I could come out, because I had resolved that I was going to be alone for the rest of my life, and that I would still be this person that I was when I got to college, who was pretending to be straight. And I was just like, I won't be in a relationship with anyone. I didn't want to deceive a woman, but I didn't want to open the floodgates of being out. So once I actually did so, that starts the process of learning how to get people to love this new person, or figuring out if they're capable of doing so. I also didn't realize that it was me who didn't love that person.
Yeah.
You start realizing that you assess how other people will love you based on how you love yourself, and that's a two-way street too, right? Because you don't grow up not loving yourself. Your experiences teach you not to. Your trauma teaches you to love yourself differently or not to love yourself. And I think I was fighting, and sometimes still am fighting, to get people to see me in a way that I sometimes can't see myself. And so that's why we look for an outside source of love. And I would always say, I wish that I could have the love I give other people. I wish that I could give that. I could get that back.
Oh my God, yes.
But I should. It is in my best interest to take that love that I'm giving people and give it to myself first. And to really give myself a chance to feel and to make mistakes and to be less than perfect and to just recover. So I think love is just so complicated for me. I think, and I don't think it always has to be, but at this point, I'm still figuring it out. I've never been in a relationship before. And I think that was also like feeding a narrative about love for me. But the more I learn, the more I understand that there are things I still need and want, and I'm not finding them. Yeah. And that's okay. That just means I need to spend a little bit more time together. I could go the rest of my life without finding romantic love. And while that wouldn't be the greatest thing, I'm not gonna die.
Right.
I'll keep on having to learn how to love myself differently. I will keep learning to love other people differently. And sometimes it'll get lonely. But if I at least accept that that could be my life, maybe I'll be able to let go. So that's love.
Wow. First of all, thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
And second of all, I think I'm gonna cry. So we're gonna move on. because definitely saw a lot of myself in that too. It's very amazing. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you to draw now. We're gonna draw.
Okay.
So I want you to pick colors that represent you as a person, your mood right now, your life. You can pick as many as you want to.
This is always the first.
Okay. I like that color.
I love orange. It has always been my favorite color since I was a baby.
Oh, yay.
A teeny kid. I don't know how many colors I'm going to end up grabbing out of here, but let's not limit ourselves, bud.
Yeah.
There's some greens up in there, huh? Oh, I love this one. Is anyone going to jump out at me? Okay.
Okay. So tell me. No, you're good. You're so good. Okay, so tell me about the colors you picked.
All right. So I chose orange first because, again, favorite color always. And I by association choose yellow and red because they make orange. So
that's amazing.
Would not exist without these two.
Yes.
I then realized that I can't create a whole picture without like at least the majority of the colors of the rainbow. So I got these two, even though I have no personal relationship with either one of them.
Okay.
I've always hated the color green until I started appreciating nature. I have always hated the color green. It represents manhood to me.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I know that a lot of people think blue does.
Yeah.
But it's like blue is like neutral man and green is like aggressive man. Like I'm a macho man.
Oh yeah, like
Military,
I'm cutting down trees.
You know
lumber.
what I mean? I've always despised green.
Okay.
I don't know why my mind understood that, but that's the way it worked out. I knew I was gonna get these two because I'm Blake and I'm proud and black and brown. This one was just so like regal. It's just like a beautiful gold color, and I'm a gold girl.
Yes.
And then these two were appealing to. I didn't get a regular purple. I wanted lavender because it's soft. And then I love pink a lot. I used to not like it that much because it's a gender color, but I think the more like I explore my relationship with femininity, the more pink, like a soft pink, really does it for me.
Yes. Okay. Cool. So I want you to draw throughout the interview.
Great. That's fun.
Like,
I don't have to overthink it.
Yeah. Exactly. And it doesn't matter if you finish or not. Just do your best and draw whatever comes to mind. You can literally draw whatever you want. You can write words, whatever you want to do. Like, no pressure. So the first question, as you draw, is what makes you the most upset?
Oh, injustice. I don't like... Oh, okay, wait a minute. I'm popping off the tops of these markers here. Getting a little messy there, bud. Yeah, injustice. And on many different levels. And I almost even want to just say like a lack of integrity. So in places where there's supposed to be integrity, for instance, like nonprofits, you expect them to come with a little bit more integrity than you expect a for-profit. And that's not always true. And I'm noticing that whenever I'm in a position where the money I'm making is being made outside of integrity, I start to feel like I'm wasting my time and I'm not living in my purpose. So that one is a big one for me too. That pisses me off. Or I would even just say it depresses me, and then that makes me angry.
Yeah.
So I don't like wasting my time and not living in my purpose.
I love that. Same. Okay, what excites you more than anything?
It's three things.
Okay.
Joy, love, and jazz. Joy just like beams out of me. So like when I'm like genuinely joyful, I can't contain it. And sometimes I like anticipate joy, and I'm like, oh, there's joy right now. I'm so excited about it. Love. Actually, I have a niece who's 7 years old and a brother who's 13. And I think about the love I have for them, and it really does excite me. Like, because it's so pure when it's coming from a child.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, so you know what the baseline is for like what love should look like, and you know how to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think watching myself give them love and how they respond to it and how happy they feel, that really excites me a lot. And then jazz, because it's so all over the place sometimes.
Yeah.
And it always tells a story.
Yes.
And it's just so great to sit down and like vibe out, hear people, or even just to watch them, to lay eyes on the person who's playing. You can really see their passion coming through with like each note. You can, if they're sad, you can just feel it like oozing through. And if they're like really feeling whatever song they're playing. They really get into it. It's a really good feeling. I just like the atmosphere it creates, so I get really excited about going to see and listen to jazz.
Where do you go to listen to jazz?
I go to DC. I go into DC. I haven't been able to do it as much as I like to, but I did get an opportunity last Sunday to do it. I just stumbled upon it. I was literally at Nelly's, not enjoying myself.
Not having any fun.
I wasn't having any fun at all. And I was like, girl, go out to the balcony. It might be fun out there. So I did, and went out there, and it wasn't fun there either. And I looked over to the left. And I saw Brixton. Brixton is right across the street from Nelly's. And I looked down and saw a sign, and it said jazz every Sunday from 6:30 to 9:30. And I was like,
my God.
How have I not known about this?
Right.
And I went in, and I was just like, yay, it was so good. They had people coming up and doing open mic stuff. It was it was
amazing.
Wonderful time to hear vocalists, the saxophone, which is my favorite instrument to listen to. And I also used to go to a place called Columbia Station, but I think they changed their name and moved like right next door. So it's still in Adams Morgan, but a little further. I mean, just a little different location. There's a place called JoJo Bar and Grill. It's the first time I ever saw jazz in the city, and love it. It's just a little expensive, but they got some great drinks, including Lady Day. They have a Billie Holiday drink that I love. Marvin's has it. It's a couple different places in DC. DC is very good for jazz. If they've done nothing else for me, they have really provided me an opportunity to just bask in jazz.
Well, we should definitely go to the Sunday 6 to 9 situation, for real, because I love jazz and I live in Columbia, so obviously there's not really that much out here, but I can definitely make that trip.
I feel that. Let's plan it, girl.
What are you most afraid of?
I don't like this question. Not living up to my potential, not being able to do the things I want to do for my family. And sometimes I like displace that pressure and say it's them who's pressuring me, but it's really me. I really, really, really want to be able to do things for them, and to be able to create a different life for them and for myself. But I don't often have guidance, and I know I can't do it the way that like everyone else has kind of done it. It's gotta be mine.
Yeah.
And I know that the best way that I can produce really strong results is by living authentically and doing something that really moves me inside, because when my passion is there, the work is impeccable. It's when I'm forcing myself to do something that the work is mediocre, and then I just become super like neurotic about it, and I'm always on the pins and needles. I'm like, I don't really want to do this, but I don't want to do it badly either. So then I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, and then I'll disengage, and then I'm upset because I've disengaged.
Oh my God.
So I just want, I think it scares me to be stuck. It scares me to not be able to provide both for myself and for my loved ones. And it scares me to be alone in love. I've done it too many times. Keep running back to that damn theme. Maybe I should have put it at number 1.
Let's see. So make a face that explains you. Like if you were a facial expression, what would it be?
That right there.
What does that mean?
It's so many different things. It's like every emotion that you could ever feel hitting you, and then you're just like, okay, yeah, got it. It's like a mixture of perseverance and fear and overwhelmment, but also just like acceptance.
Yeah, like okay, this is happening. We're doing this.
This is it. This is what it is.
Okay,
that's accurate.
All right, I love that. Explain to me what social media is to you. What do you think about social media?
Both a vessel. It is something that can take people from one place to another. We know that.
Yeah.
And a monster. When used well, social media can be a really beautiful, powerful, and helpful tool. It is a resource. It is always a resource. You can both connect people with people, learn things from people, and really like make career and life changes on there. Like people really respond to social media. I think though that it is used as a device in some of the worst ways. Because on one hand, there are people making genuine connections online. I have done that. I am friends with people today that I've met online first. But it also is a staging area. I've always said this. Social media is a staging area. So that means that people are going to get up there and really showcase the most attention-seeking versions of themselves. And that can sometimes mean the worst of people, and other times it means the best of people. And so it can cause people to disconnect from each other so much that they can say and do anything, and we start participating in groupthink. People are like, on one hand, I think accountability is really important. I was talking about this on Twitter the other day, like accountability versus like what people are calling cancel culture, which one of my followers let me know that it's not necessarily real because people don't always lose their like opportunities because of it. But it's really the act of banding together to demonize a person instead of just holding them accountable and then seeing what we can do about that and moving on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the latest example of that was no, I don't want to say that. I like watch people get together to try to like destroy Megan Thee Stallion's career.
What?
Yeah, and
really?
Because we've all said some shitty things. We have literally. Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah.
Okay. And have I? We have all said some shitty things, and unfortunately, we've all said some shitty things online. And at some point, she used the F word, which was spelled incorrectly. And so people were trying to gather together to get rid of her. And I guess at some point she had already said, hey guys, I've let you know that I've said some things before and I would like to apologize for them. But if we so coldly hold people to behaviors that they've changed, what are we doing? There's a difference between holding people accountable so that they can say, I made a mistake and I won't make it again, right? But this is what we should be looking for when we hold people accountable. But what I am seeing is people sort of trying to create like a social death, trying to socially kill other people. It's like this very vicious and really pointed thing that's totally different than trying to create a space where people are doing less toxic things. It becomes less about the behavior and more about this person's imperfect. Let's get them out of here.
Yeah.
So in that way, it can be a monster. I want every one of us to be more mindful about how we use it and just more aware.
Okay. Do you have any weird habits?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a lot of weird. I'm a weird person.
Same.
On the list of like 1,000, which ones are most important? I love screaming. I really love screaming. So like when I'm alone in my room and I watch TV and just will react to it as loudly as I possibly can. Sometimes I'll just be screaming obscenities. It's just, there's no reason. I think there's just some part of me that like has bursts of energy that need to get out.
Yeah.
It's a really strange thing. I scream in the car. I am a wild person.
I love it.
Yeah. That's the only one I can bring to mind right now, actually.
That was a good one, though.
Okay.
That was good. Share an embarrassing moment. That face is everything.
Ooh! No. Oh, okay. One time in high school, it was my like freshman year. I was in like an honors English course. And, I don't know what we were doing, but our teacher was just like, hey, guys can sit around in a circle, look at each other, we're going to talk. Or it may have been like a free day or something, and we were listening to Umbrella by Rihanna. It was the version with Chris Brown on it.
Oh, yeah.
I love to sing. Sometimes I sound great, and sometimes I don't. I am not like a great vocalist, but I got some,
you can roll the tune.
A couple of them. And I tried to hit that note that Chris Brown hits at the end, and I prepared the girls like, okay, y'all get ready. I said, oh. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that. I never forget that. I have never forgotten that happened. Oh, they laughed, child. They should have. It was funny.
Oh my God. That's amazing. Okay. What's the most challenging thing you've gone through?
Leaving my job. I left my job in 2017. I was working at a large retailer, at a super version of said retailer, as a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. And I was so unhappy all the time. And it felt like nothing was really giving, like, at all. I wasn't getting any pleasure from it. I mean, I was getting a hefty check.
Yeah.
That I do miss. But I didn't have time to act. I was in a place that didn't really cater at all to, like, a gay population. Mm-hmm. And not even really that much of a black one. And I just seemed like I was so dissatisfied with my life at the time. So I made a decision to get up and leave. I left my job first, and then moved a couple months after from my stepmother's basement to my cousin's couch. And I was unemployed for 6 months. Rough time. I really thought, naive me, I really thought I was going to be able to find a job with my qualifications and my personality a lot sooner than I was able to. Part of me was being picky too.
Yeah.
I don't think that is ever going to change about me.
Right. Same.
Unfortunately. But, you know, that was the consequence.
Yeah.
And so really trying to get back on my feet was difficult. But somehow... the girl got there, okay?
Yes. How long ago did you say this? Did you say how long ago?
Yeah, so I was unemployed from August of 2017 till January of 2018. And I didn't get into, like, my own space until May of 2018.
Okay. Do you send important information through text? Like, are you the person that if there's something that needs to be talked about, that you will be like, I need to either talk to you on the phone or see you in person, or are you just like, let me just get it out and text person?
It depends on if I can speak to the person. I have to challenge myself very often, and I have a friendship right now that has made me do that, and I really appreciate it because it was always hard for me to sit down and verbalize my emotions to my loved ones. Mm-hmm. I actually find that I freeze more often than not. I'm amazed at how often my words will get stuck right in the throat. Like, and I'm just looking, and my mind is racing at the time, but I'm like, how do I just get this out? How do you say it? Bring it into life.
Right.
So text can become easier with that. My father's one person I love to communicate through with text through, because he can't immediately respond. So I can get out what I have to say and he see it.
Yeah.
Versus me saying something and then immediately receiving a response for it.
Okay. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen?
Ooh. Child, I've seen some crazy stuff.
Have you?
Yeah, I think I'm attracted to crazy things. I love experiences, so sometimes I live for mess. I'm not gonna lie to you. Chaos, my best friend. I get some pleasure out of it sometimes, even when it's really bad for me. But I would say that the craziest thing I ever saw was my friend tripping on weed brownies. It was scary. It was on my birthday.
I genuinely thought you were about to say like acid, PCP, mushrooms,
marijuana.
So what happened? Like, were they just
she
like
was dehydrated? It was my 21st birthday. I was merging two different parts of my life, my college friends and my home friends, and it was going well at first, except that one of them was really dehydrated and really high, and also just I think genuinely uncomfortable around like a new group of people. So I've of course like gone through so many different things trying to process this in my brain. So that's what I would say was what it was. And like she was just like dancing in the streets, like videos you've seen, but it was like scary because we were right in front of a Catholic church.
Don't dance in front of the Catholic church.
It was it was just like we all were genuinely afraid. Like, and as you talk to any one of us about like what had happened that day, we all sort of like approach it with this caution. Like I'm not gonna share any like the details, but that shit got scary, like genuinely scary. Like no one was laughing at the time. We talk about it now and we like laugh, but if there was even a chuckle, it was out of pure nervousness. We like 2 of my friends ran. It was bad. It was
my God.
bad. Because you have to think, like, we're in this situation. None of us have ever seen this before. We are standing right in front of a Catholic church. Most of us, if not all of us,
possessed or something.
we thought, shit, oh my God. I've never prayed so hard over a person. I don't know who I thought I was. If I thought I was like, you know, a shaman or some spiritual guru, but I laid hands and I like literally sat there and like did the hardest prayer I think I've ever done in my entire life.
My God.
And let me tell you that like my anxiety had skyrocketed from that point going forward for like, it was like, and you tell people this story because they weren't there. They're like, oh, you know, that's great. You know, you got, it was nothing. People will try to explain it away or they'll like think it's really, really funny. But I guarantee you, if anybody else was there, they would have felt that shit too. It was some crazy shit.
Word.
God bless my friend. I love her a lot.
You do love her. You didn't even go into detail.
Hell no, I'm not doing that.
You're not gonna tell me what you
Hell no.
Use your imagination.
Yeah, man.
What are you self-conscious about?
Oh, this is real raw. Like, whoo. That I'm. I don't know if I'm gonna say that.
Say it.
Let's just breathe through it. Come on, baby boy. That I'm too much. That both the things that make me desirable or alluring or entertaining could also be the things that will continue to isolate me.
I feel like, I mean, don't you feel like there's a place for you regardless? Like, even if, like, you don't have to be isolated by the things that you feel are too, because I don't think you're too much, but I also am, like, never around you when you're acting like super too much, so. So, like, has someone else said, hey, you're too much, and that's made you think
Oh, people tell me I'm too much all the time. And sometimes it's like, whatever, I don't care.
Right.
But other times, I think I'm just so over concerned about what's happening in other people's heads. And so my brain will tell me that there's going to come a day when these people get sick and tired of your ass. As a matter of fact, sometimes my friends get annoyed and they'll finally tell me, like, shut the fuck up. Like, literally my friend the other day was like, shut the fuck up. And I was like, yes. Like, I laughed and I got so much joy out of it because it was like, I've been wanting you guys to do this for so long. Like, someone just, like, stop me.
Right. That's so funny.
I don't get it, though. Like, why am I like that? Like, I don't know. Like, I want them to, like, push me away or some shit.
Yeah, you're just like, just keep telling me how annoying I am.
I literally asked one day, like, in our group message, just like, hey, can you guys just, like, read me for a little while? Just, like, tell me, like, the most obnoxious things about myself.
Did they do it?
No, they refused to. They refused to. And
that's like me.
Yeah, but in my mind, it was like, if you tell me, I can fix them. Or I can be more aware of them and I won't do them so much. And in my brain...
Honestly, a lot of those things are probably why they love you.
Yeah, but, you know, like, I'm still trying to fight perfectionism.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
I tell myself and tell other people all the time, there's no way you can be perfect. I know that, but sometimes I don't.
What is your sign?
Sagittarius.
Oh, okay. That makes all of the sense. Okay. Fire.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I do love fire. It's chaotic and it's passionate and it's just, whew, it's all or it's nothing and it's just really exciting.
Yeah, it's beautiful too. Do you look up to anyone?
I look up to Billy Porter. I look up to my mom very often and my stepmother because they have been examples of hard work and love. And they raised me. So even through any of the mistakes either of them made, I've always relied on them. I think they were great caregivers. I will say that much, because if anything, there were times when I was like, I don't want them to have to overextend themselves to do something for me, and I would like try to protect them from my needs. But I know that they did a wonderful job.
Yes. Okay, I have a very open-ended question. What's missing?
I would say a man, but I don't. Men are annoying.
They are, aren't they?
They're obnoxious. Right now, sex. I've gone 7 months. I've been abstinent. I've been abstaining from anal sex for. I have to specify. For 7 months now, and I am losing my goddamn mind. It's been so rough. So
how do you feel about like the hookup culture?
I hate it. I don't. That's why I'm abstaining. I cannot keep having sex with men and then like sending them on their way. Or I do this thing where I like will have sex with them and then I'll be like, I'm done, and then find out that they like me, and then I'll be like, well, the sex wasn't that great and I didn't really know you, so I don't like you. And like now that the sex wasn't great, I don't even know that I like should really get to know you now.
Right, like should I even keep your number, or did we meet at all?
Exactly, man. And I hate doing that to people, but like if we don't establish before we have sex that there's something, or that we want to get to know each other, or that there's something there about each other that we like, then to me, it's over with.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't even think it's a great thing. Like I don't love this about myself, but I find it really difficult to return. Yep. So sex is missing. Money is missing.
Okay.
It's missing the most actually. And I don't want to say growth, because that's not true at all. I'm always looking to grow, but I would love to be so much further in my acting career than I am. I would love to be making money from it, first of all. I would also love to just be like traveling. So I just need a little bit more freedom.
Okay, so we're gonna put this in the universe right now. In 5 years, what do you see for yourself? What's your perfect?
I would have and you said perfect, right? So this
you're exactly what you want.
I would like to, in 2 years, have like 2 degrees. If it's not possible, find at least one extra one. I would like to have been in a relationship for 2 or 3 years. I would like to have a savings account that really accounts for anything that could happen. Not everything, but just like anything in the immediate time. I would like to be in New York.
Yes. Yay!
I would like to be in New York. I would also like to be traveling for work.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that it? Oh, and have really, really strong relationships with the people in my with my family. I know that everything can't be perfect, but I would at least like to know that we're able to work through things and that I'm being 100% honest about my emotions with the people that I love.
Yes, that's beautiful. And it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, last question. What do you have to say to the world?
I'm gonna keep standing on my soapbox about this. We have to do so much better about seeing each other. I'm, as a Sagittarius, I hate small talk. But I do understand that it works for some people to feel connected. But we have to do better in general of coming into a space with people, looking at who they are, who they're showing up as, and making them feel welcome. And sometimes that's as simple as eye contact. I do a lot of work with my eyes. I help people break down barriers just through them. I've learned that recently. I didn't know. But we have to do better in our own way, and however it is that we do and thrive, we have to do better to make people feel welcome and to feel loved. And we have to, I don't want to be like that type of person that's like, we're missing love, but we are missing compassion for one another.
Yes.
We're missing patience for one another. And that doesn't mean that we're always getting along. It means that when we're expressing differences, we're allowing people to get it out. It means that we are taking it in, we're processing it, and we're moving forward. And we're finding ways to move forward together. Even if that means apart. But you gotta see people, accept for them for who they're coming to you and coming to the world as. And we gotta just not create such an environment that makes people feel lonely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was amazing.
Thank you.
Show us what you drew.
Oh, wonderful. Somehow I drew on a little tree and a little pond and some deer drinking in it and some flowers and some crystals. That's rose quartz. I just like decided that amethyst and rose quartz would be together for some of that, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the mixture of them.
I love crystals, so I'm
Yeah.
glad you added those. Also, when you said your words got caught in your throat, I was like, oh, his throat chakra. Well,
Oh,
okay.
yes. Yes.
Okay. That's what that is.
Yes, it is.
Cool.
I never even thought about that.
I love that so much. Can you sign it for me?
Of course.
Awesome.
I'm gonna sign it 3 ways. This is Devin in the flesh.